Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we sift through your sources to uncover the most important nuggets of knowledge and insight. Today, we're plunging into a truly wild and ancient text, the Testament of Solomon.
Yeah, this isn't your typical historical account. It purports to be King Solomon's personal record, of how he was granted authority over a vast army of demons
Demons. Yes.
and how he used them to help build the magnificent temple in Jerusalem.
You shared this incredible source material with us, and our mission in this deep dive is to guide you through its most surprising claims and extract the big picture insights.
Exactly. We're going to explore how Solomon supposedly gained this power, the really bizarre nature and specific activities of the demons he interrogated,
Interrogated demons, okay.
how he put these forces of chaos to work on a divine building project, and how the text claims this story stretches into later history with some profound implications.
Okay, let's unpack this extraordinary account. King Solomon, according to this text, was a master of demons. So the story doesn't begin with Solomon, flexing his power immediately. It starts with a problem.
Right, a very specific problem right on the temple building site. Progress was being halted.
What was happening?
Well, there was a young boy, the master workman's son, who was going tormented by a demon named Ornias.
Tormented how? Just generally spooky stuff.
No, it was physical too. Ornias would steal half the boy's pay and food. And get this, he'd suck the boy's thumb, causing him to waste away. Solomon noticed the boy getting thinner, even though he was being looked after.
Wow. That is incredibly specific and frankly quite creepy. So Solomon, known for wisdom, he doesn't just send guards or something.
No, he goes straight to the top. Solomon prays directly to God for the authority to overcome this demon.
Does it work?
His prayers answered, and pretty dramatically.
Yeah.
Archangel Michael appears.
Archangel Michael himself.
According to the text, yes. And he brings Solomon a special gift from the Lord Sabaoth, Lord of hosts. It's a small ring with a seal engraved on a stone.
A ring, like a magic ring.
The text calls the seal a pentalpha. You might recognize that as a five-pointed star, sometimes called the Seal of Solomon. It's presented as this divinely granted tool.
A tool for what exactly? Controlling this one demon.
For much more. The text says this ring gives Solomon the ability to, and I quote, lock up all demons of the earth, male and female.
Whoa, all demons.
That's the claim. It grants him authority to compel them and use their power. Specifically, he's told he can use them to help build Jerusalem.
So what does he do with the ring? Put it on.
He gives it to the tormented boy with instructions. Throw it at Ornias' chest and command the demon in God's name to come to Solomon.
Throw the ring at him.
Yep, and the text says it works instantly. Ornias is immediately subdued, brought before Solomon, trembling, begging not to be taken.
Okay, so that establishes the method. The ring, the seal, God's name.
Exactly. That's the core mechanism of control in this story. The demons have to submit to that combination.
So Ornias is captured. Does Solomon just banish him?
Nope. Solomon shifts gears. He starts interrogating him, demanding to know his nature, his activities, his weaknesses.
And the demon talks.
Oh, yeah. Under the power of the ring and God's name, they spill some really remarkable, sometimes bizarre details. Ornias goes first.
What does Ornias say?
He reveals he's subject to the zodiac sign of Aquarius, the water pourer. He says he strangles people who desire virgins, and he can shapeshift into three forms.
Shapeshift? Into what?
A beautiful woman to torment men in their sleep, or a lion. He also mentions he's frustrated by the archangel Uriel.
Fascinating. And Solomon puts him to work.
Immediately, cutting stones for the temple, specifically sourcing large ones from the Sea of Arabia.
Huh. But Ornias tries to make a deal.
He does, cunning, right? He says, release me and I'll bring you the prince of all the demons.
Does Solomon fall for it?
No, he refuses the release, but uses Ornias' power anyway. He compels Ornias to bring the prince.
And who shows up? Is it Satan?
The text names him Beelzebul, describes the exarch, the chief ruler of the demons. Other big-name demons are seated near him. He even makes other apparitions manifest for Solomon.
Beelzebul, like Beelzebub.
Very likely the same figure, yeah.
Yeah.
And he promises to bring all the unclean spirits to Solomon in bonds.
Does the text give his backstory? Where did he come from?
It does. He claims he was the first angel in the first heaven, named Beelzebul, before the fall. Now he controls those in Tartarus, the abyss.
And his job description?
Pretty much maximum destruction. Destroying kings, bringing tyrants to power, making men worship demons, tempting God's servants, inspiring envy, murder, war, sodomy, basically destroying the world. says he resides in the evening star.
That's quite the resume. What frustrates him? He's the chief, right?
He confesses he's frustrated by the holy and precious name of the Almighty God. The text gets really specific here.
How specific?
It mentions the name is represented by a row of numbers, summing to 644 in Hebrew. The text later notes this corresponds to Emmanuel, and it's also known as Elef in Roman magical practices.
Numbers representing God's name.
Oh.
Okay. And Solomon puts Beelzebul to work, too.
Yep. Sawing marble for the temple, even the chief of demons isn't spared the labor detail.
Incredible. Who's next?
Next, Beelzebul brings forward a female demon named Anoskelis.
Anaskelis. What's her deal?
Described as having a beautiful form, but she lurks on earth in shifting golden caves. Prefers wild places, precipices, ravines.
And what does she do?
Strangles men with a noose, or somehow prevents them from following their true path. She also takes a female form to consort with men, especially, the text notes, those of dark skin who unknowingly worship her star, hoping for wealth.
Okay, but her origin story. That's something else, right?
Oh, it's one of the weirdest. Born of a voice untimely, like an echo. An echo of a man's orger, human waste dropped in a wood.
Seriously? That's... Wow, okay. How is she controlled or frustrated?
She's subject to the star of the full moon. And she's frustrated by, he that in thee is reigning, meaning God's wisdom in Solomon, and specifically by the angel Joel.
And her job. More stone cutting.
Nope. Solomon binds her and makes her spin hemp for the ropes needed in the temple construction.
So the pattern continues. Capture, interrogate, learn the weakness, assign work. Who's next in line?
Asmodeus appears. And he's defiant at first, predicts Solomon's kingdom will fall eventually, demons will roam free again, claims he's born from an angel and a human woman.
Defiant. How does Solomon handle that?
Solomon binds him, and the text says he even flogs him until Asmodeus confesses.
And what's his confession? What's his specialty?
Disrupting human relationships. Big time. He plots against newlyweds, tries to keep them apart, wastes virgin beauty, estranges hearts, drives men mad with lust for people other than their spouses, leading to sin, abandonment, even murder.
Sounds like a real menace to society. What stops him?
Archangel Raphael. Also, something physical. The liver and gall of a specific fish, the glanos from Assyrian rivers.
Ah.
Yeah, smoked over tamarisk ashes, it puts Asmodeus to flight. So Solomon puts Asmodeus to work making clay for the entire temple, treading it with his feet, carrying water, and he hangs the fish parts over him, just in case.
Ah. Okay. The demons get weirder, though, right? Something about ashes.
Yes, Tephrus, the spirit of ashes. His activities involve dust, heat, destruction, dust devils, darkness, setting fire to fields, ruining homesteads, especially in summer. Lives in wall corners.
An elemental sort of demon. What's his weakness?
His star is at the tip of the moon's southern horn. He claims he can heal a certain fever, hematertian fever, if people pray to him with specific names.
But that's a lie.
Solomon notes it's a lie, yes. He's actually frustrated by Archangel Azazel. Solomon puts him to work tossing heavy stones up to the workmen high up on the temple walls.
Then there's a group, right? Female spirits.
Yes, 7 of them. Described as beautiful like goddesses, but bound together. They identify as being of the 33 elements of the cosmic ruler of the darkness.
Cosmic ruler of darkness. Then they represent specific things.
Exactly. Each is a personified vice or destructive force. You've got deception, frustrated by Lemisel, strife, frustrated by Baruchiakal, Clohod, which means battle, frustrated by Marmoreth.
Keep going.
Jealousy, causing family division, frustrated by Balthiel. Power, raising tyrants, frustrated by Astaroth. Error, leading people astray. This one claims she made Solomon kill his brother.
Wait, Solomon killed his brother?
That's what this demon claims, yes.
Yeah.
She's frustrated by Uriel. And the last is called the worst. Imposes the bonds of Artemis, whatever that means, but is oddly freed by the locust.
So these are like fundamental evils. What task does Solomon give them?
A big one. He seals them all and commands them to dig the actual foundations of the temple of God. Reluctantly, they do it.
Fitting work for forces of chaos. The forms keep getting stranger, though. What about the headless one?
Ah, yes. A demon with a man's limbs, but no head. Claims to be envy.
And he wants a head.
Exactly. Wants to devour heads, especially human ones, to get one. Claims he sees by feelings, not eyes. Says his voice comes from dumb men whose heads he smashed as children. Causes mutilations, incurable sores, especially on feet.
That's grim. Where does his power come from?
He says the fire he emits comes from the day star. Mentions an entity named Elburian that the 7 sisters pray to, but won't name him to Solomon. This headless envy is frustrated by a fiery flash of lightning. Solomon keeps him with Beelzebul for a bit.
Then a giant dog.
Huge hound, yeah.
Huh?
Named Staff, or Rebdos. Speaks loudly. Claims he used to be a man who did unholy things, powerful enough to hold back the stars.
Hold back stars. Wow. What's his job now?
Harms people following his star, seizes frenzied men by the throat. But importantly, he knows where to find a valuable green stone needed for the temple.
Ah, so Solomon uses him for reconnaissance.
Exactly. Sends a servant with the ring. The hound shows the servant the stone. Servant seals the hound, brings him back. Solomon confines both Envy and the hound.
And uses the hound for lighting.
Yeah, gets the hound to keep the fiery, headless Envy close by. Envy's internal fire shines through the hound's mouth, providing light day and night for the temple artisans. Clever, eh? He gets 200 shekels of the green stone, too. The hound is frustrated by the angel Brius,
Very practical. Then a lion form.
a spirit like a roaring lion named Lionbearer or Wrath. Attacks sick men invisibly, weakens them. But strangely, he also claims he can cast out other demons and has legions. Can even be welcomed into homes with his legions.
Casts out demons. That's weird. What stops him?
The Son of Man, whose name is given as the number 644, Emmanuel. He's the one who will suffer and cast the demons underwater. Solomon condemns Wrath's legion to carry wood, and Wrath himself has to saw it small with his teeth for the temple furnace.
Sawing wood with his teeth. Ouch! Okay, three-headed dragon time.
Right, fearsome thing. Caltrop-like, maybe spiky. Each head does something different. One blinds children in the womb, makes them deaf and mute. Another slips into bodies, causes seizures, falling, foaming, grinding teeth.
Nasty stuff. Frustrated by...
The angel of the great council who will appear on the cross. Signified by Jerusalem, written of the head, likely Golgotha.
And this dragon provides useful info.
Big time. Tells Solomon where to find a load of gold near the temple entrance, which turns out to be true. And he confirms it was the demon Ephippus who brought that giant pillar of air from the Red Sea,
So the dragon gets put to work too.
making bricks for the temple with his human-like hands. It fits the pattern. Bind, interrogate, learn weakness, compel work or knowledge.
The encounters continue. There's another significant female spirit, right?
Yes, a spirit in woman's form. Head, disheveled hair, but no limbs. This is Obizith, and she says one of her names among men is Lilith.
Lilith. Okay, famous name. What's her main activity?
Going around at night to women in childbirth and strangling infants if she gets the chance. The text emphasizes she cannot stand to be unsuccessful for even a single night. Fierce spirit, many names, many shapes, roams everywhere.
That's horrifying. A direct threat to newborns. How's she stopped?
By the angel Apharat, interpreted as Raphael. Knowing the angel's name numerical value 640 and writing it on a woman in childbirth stops Obazuth Lilith from entering, now and forever.
So Solomon finds a countercharm. What does he do with her?
Binds her by the hair and hangs her up right in front of the temple, as a public warning and a sign of God's power through him for all Israel to see.
Public display. Wow. Then a winged dragon. Different from the three-headed one.
Yeah, this one is like a dragon, but it has a man's face and hands, plus wings. Claims he used to be worshipped as a god, but Solomon's power brought him low.
And his special skill.
He's the winged dragon who mates with certain women under a specific star. Causes them to bear offspring filled with lust that can't be carried by men, resulting in the woman breaking wind, oddly.
Okay, the specifics are just something else. He also breathes fire.
Yes, demonstrates by burning logs, just by breathing on them. He's frustrated by the angel Bezazek in the second heaven. Solomon condemns him to saw marbles.
Marbles again. Then another female spirit. An Epsigos.
Right. Appears with 3 heads or forms. Myriad names, changes shapes like a goddess, sometimes invoked as Kronos, lives in the moon. Frustrated by the angel Rathaniel in the third heaven.
And she delivers a major prophecy, doesn't she?
Huge one. Looks into the future, tells Solomon his kingdom will break, the temple will be destroyed by Persians, Medes, Chaldeans, Jerusalem undone.
Predicts the temple's destruction.
And more. Says the temple vessels, including the jars Solomon used to seal the demons, will be broken by men. And then the demons go free again, spread across the world, lead humanity astray for a long time.
Until when?
Until the Son of God is stretched on the cross. Born of a virgin, name value 644, Emmanuel. He's the one who will frustrate them all. She even tells Solomon his own time is short and evil, and his kingdom will go to his servant.
That's staggering. A demon predicting the future destruction and the coming of Christ, essentially. How does Solomon react?
He marvels, but doesn't fully believe it at first. But the text says he writes the testament precisely so people later will know the demon's powers and weaknesses, and the angels that stop them after these things happen. He gets the warning.
Okay, so that's a pivotal moment. But there's still more demons, a big group.
Oh yeah, 36 spirits appear next. Heads like dogs, asses, oxen, birds, but human forms.
36. Who are they?
They identify as the 36 elements, the world rulers of this darkness. And they explicitly link themselves to the signs of the zodiac, the deacons specifically. Ram, bull, twins, crab, etc.
Like astrology demons.
Sort of. They initially boast Solomon can't imprison them, but they submit to God's authority through him.
And Solomon interrogates all 36.
One by one. Name, actions, frustrating angel, or charm. This section is basically a massive detailed catalog.
A catalog of what? More weird activities.
A catalog of human ailments, misfortunes, and vices, each linked to a specific demon, and each with a specific angelic counter or ritual cure.
So like a demon for headaches, a demon for arguments.
Exactly that level of detail. For instance, Ruax, linked to the ram, causes idle heads, frustrated by Michael. Barsaphael, also ram, causes migraines, stopped by Gabriel. Iudal causes ear blockages, frustrated by Uriel.
Physical stuff too.
Definitely. Sfundor weakens shoulders, paralyzes hands, breaks neck bones, frustrated by Ariel. Metathiax causes aching reins, frustrated by Adonel. Katani causes domestic strife. Hard tempers stopped by writing angelic names on laurel leaves and washing the house.
Wow, so specific remedies too.
Yes. Buldemek separates spouses, causes grudges, stopped by writing names of Abraham, Isaac, Jacob on paper in the entrance hall. Phanoth casts evil eyes, stopped by drawing an eye. There's one for coughing, fits in children, fevers, sleeplessness, even trouble swallowing fish bones.
Trouble swallowing fish bones has its own demon.
Apparently. Alabarth, frustrated by, well, taking a fish bone and coughing. Seems practical, that one.
Huh. It's an incredible system. Everything bad that happens has a name, a cause, and a counter.
It really maps out an ancient worldview where spiritual forces directly impact every aspect of daily life and health.
And Solomon puts these 36 to work as well.
Yep. Fetching water, heavy construction, working with fire to make gold and silver, or just locking them up. Busy demons.
Okay, so the demons are working, the temple's getting built, but there was that cornerstone issue, too big to move.
Right. The narrative jumps back to that. The cornerstone is too big even for the bound demon Solomon had. He's troubled.
And then he gets that letter.
Exactly. From Adares, king of Arabia, complaining about a fierce wind spirit Ephippas, the one the dragon mentioned, blowing every morning, killing people and animals. Unstoppable.
So Solomon sees another job for his unique skill set.
You got it. Sends his servant to Arabia
With
with the ring and, importantly, a leather flask.
a flask to catch the wind.
Seems so. The servant stands before the wind, holds the ring over the flask's mouth. The text says the demon Ephippas is compelled to blow into the flask. Servant seals it up quick, and the wind stops in Arabia.
He caught the wind in a bottle.
Essentially, yeah. Servant brings the flask back to Solomon. And it gets weirder. The flask, with Ephippas inside, miraculously walks 7 steps and bows to Solomon.
The flask walks.
That's what it says. Ephippas identifies himself, confirms he's the wind from Arabia, fetched from the Red Sea by the dragon.
And what frustrates this powerful wind spirit?
Same theme. The only ruling God. He that is to be born of a virgin and crucified by the Jews on a cross. Ephippas boasts he can move mountains, overthrow kings' oaths, wither trees.
So Solomon thinks, cornerstone.
Exactly. Asks Ephippas if he can move it. Ephippas says yes, and he can also bring up that pillar of air from the Red Sea with help from the demon down there, a Beelzebul.
Solomon makes him do it.
Compels him. Puts the flask under the stone, and Ephippas lifts the massive cornerstone, carries it on top of the flask up the steps, and sets it in place.
On top of the flask. Wow. Fulfilling scripture.
The stone, which the builders rejected, that same has become the head of the corner. Solomon credits God's power. Then Ephippas brings Beelzebul, the Red Sea demon, who lifts the pillar.
The pillar that the dragon mentioned earlier.
The very one. Solomon seals them both, forcing them to hold the pillar in midair, proof of his wisdom. The text claims it's still there, slightly oblique, held by these spirits.
So who is this Abizithabad, the Red Sea demon?
He explains. Says he was a winged spirit in the first heaven, plotted against others, claims he was there with Moses and Pharaoh, hardening Pharaoh's heart, fighting Moses with the Egyptian magicians during the Exodus signs.
He fought Moses.
That's his claim. Says he got trapped under the Red Sea when the waters returned on the Egyptians, stayed there under the pillar until Ephippas came for him.
Okay, so these two powerful spirits tied to Exodus events are now holding up a pillar. Solomon seems triumphant. Temple built. Peace, prosperity. What goes wrong? It always goes wrong, doesn't it?
It does in this story. The text says Solomon took countless wives, including a Jebusian woman he fell violently in love with,
Uh-oh.
Her priests demand he worship their gods, Raphan and Moloch, before he can marry her. Solomon refuses at first, says he fears God, won't worship demons.
Good for him, sticking to his principles.
But the woman is advised by crafty arrows, basically, lust. Her priests tell her not to sleep with him until he complies. She puts 5 grasshoppers nearby.
Grasshoppers.
Yes. And she tells Solomon the condition for sleeping with her is simple. Just crush those 5 grasshoppers together in the name of the god Moloch.
He does it, after commanding Beelzebul, after all this.
Yeah.
Just for a woman.
He does it. And the text is stark. Immediately upon crushing the grasshoppers for Moloch, the Spirit of God departs from him.
Just like that.
Just like that. He becomes weak, foolish, enslaved by her. He's then compelled to build temples and idols for Baal, Rapha, Moloch, other demons.
Oh man, from master demons to building their temples.
He realizes, writing the Testament, that God's glory left him, his spirit darkened. He became the sport of idols and demons, the very beings he commanded.
So the whole Testament is framed as a warning, written after his fall.
Exactly. A warning to Israel to focus on the last things, the consequences, the spiritual state, not the initial temptation, so they might find grace.
Wow, what a downfall. But the source material you shared goes even further, right? About the legacy.
Yeah, the source emphasizes the Testament deals with spirits of fallen giants, distinct from human souls. These spirits, it says, roam the earth after death, inhabiting things, seeking vengeance. Solomon encountered these.
And Solomon sealed them, but the story doesn't end there.
Not according to this source.
Yeah.
It makes a pretty huge claim. Centuries later, the Knights Templar excavated Solomon's temple for about a decade.
The actual Knights Templar?
That's the claim, 9 knights. And they allegedly found Solomon's ring and the vessels containing the sealed demons.
They found the ring and the bottled-up demons. Seriously?
According to this interpretation of history, yes. The source claims they took these back to Europe, got rich and powerful via the church, invented banking systems.
Became bankers.
Yes, and allegedly used their demonic knowledge, or maybe the threat of releasing demons, to blackmail lords, sometimes following through.
It's quite a conspiracy theory. How does the church react in this narrative?
Eventually, the church figures it out or notices something's up. As the Templars arrested, burned at the stake for consorting with the devil, often on Friday the 13th, according to the source.
Friday the 13th. Okay, but some escaped.
The source claims some escaped the purge.
And what did they do? Start a new bank.
According to this text, they went on to form secret societies, specifically names Freemasonry and the Illuminati as descendants of these escaped demon knowledge-wielding Templars.
Whoa. From Solomon's ring to the Illuminati, that's a journey.
The text concludes by echoing that famous line, "You may be through with the past, but the past isn't through with you," implying these forces are still at play.
Man, okay. So we started with a demon sucking a boy's thumb. We ended up with Solomon commanding legions of spirits, building the temple, falling from grace over grasshoppers, and maybe, just maybe, kicking off a chain of events leading to secret societies thousands of years later.
It's a lot. The Testament of Solomon gives such a unique perspective. Biblical figures, sure, but also demonology, ancient ideas about illness, misfortune, spiritual power. The sheer detail on the demons is incredible.
And that twist at the end. Solomon, the ultimate wise guy, binding Beelzebul himself, falls because he compromises on something seemingly small. That's a powerful warning right there in the text itself.
Absolutely. It really hammers home the idea that external power, even over demons, isn't enough. Internal wisdom, sticking to God's will, that's presented as what truly matters. Otherwise, you become, as it says, the sport of idols and demons.
This source gives you so much to chew on. The whole idea that ancient texts might hold these hidden histories or, wild explanations for where things like secret societies or even just bad luck come from.
Right. It challenges you to think about how these narratives about power, temptation, hidden knowledge echo through history. Whether you read it literally as demon binding or metaphorically about wrestling inner demons or societal forces, it's potent stuff.
So what does it all mean? I guess it leaves you wondering about these ancient stories, how they shape things, and whether the past really ever lets us go. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. We hope you found exploring the Testament of Solomon as well as fascinating and frankly bizarre as we did.